Let's fucking go.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Nosferatu. Now, Nosferatu is the latest Robert Eggers film. Robert Eggers is sort of making a real name for himself in the film industry right now with movies like The Witch and The Northman, movies that are just spectacular to look at on screen, movies that are just, there's this like artistic kind of, I'm not gonna say flair to what he does, but he's really making a name for himself. And you like, there are directors who have a vision, who, like, when you see a film like a film from a certain director, you know it. When you see an Edgar Wright film, you know it. When you see a James Gunn film, you can feel it. When you see a James Cameron movie, you feel it. When you see a Spielberg movie, you can feel it. When you see a Quentin Tarantino movie, you can feel it. Martin Scorsese. There's a list of directors who you can kind of, when you see their films, there's something about it that sticks out that you're like, that's that filmmaker. And Robert Eggers he's getting that, especially like I said with The Witch and The Northman. The Northman, which I dug the fuck out of The Northman, but he has that same level of attentiveness and approach to this movie, Nosferatu. Now, as some of you know, Nosferatu is based off of the 1922 German film Nosferatu, which was one of the first big movie released in cinema and cinematic things in history, was that Nosferatu. But some of you don't know, Nosferatu was a German ripoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now it did come out 9 years before eventually an actual Dracula movie was made. The one that we all think about, the one with the slick back hair and the, that's more closely based off of the book. But Nosferatu was a ripoff of that. They got that out years before anyone in America ever managed to make a film of Dracula. And at the time in 1922, I mean, this is before some of the world wars and shit. Like in 1922, at the time, this was one of the scariest movies that was ever released. Like, it's hard to think about that now, but back in the day, Nosferatu and that silly looking, like, I know I probably posted up in the clip, but Nosferatu, he was kind of a silly, like to us standards now, it was kind of silly, but back in 1922, it was terrifying actually. And Nosferatu is a lot like Dracula. The story it was a blatant ripoff. In fact, that movie, Nosferatu, 1992's Nosferatu, was one of the first cases of a major copyright infringement. I'm sure you'd get other copyright infringements too. You had like this, at the time you had this, you would later get like DC, like Detective Comics suing the guy who made Shazam because they say he looks too much like Superman. Like, this was one of the biggest first major cases of copyright infringement in terms of entertainment-wise in the world, which is why for a long time Nosferatu, I hate to go on about it, but I just feel like some people don't know this because, not a lot of people know about Nosferatu. At that time period, it was kind of like a banned movie. Like, it was a hard movie to get a hold of. It was something that you couldn't. Nowadays, I believe you can just look the whole damn thing up on YouTube. It's not a long movie. It's in 1922. It's like literally, I can't remember what it is. Like, is it like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that? It's really a short film. It's really not even a movie. It's a short film. But still, at the time, it terrified people. At the time, no one had seen something like that. But the differences between Nosferatu and Dracula is its story. First of all, Nosferatu is a monster. He's a monster, but literally, that's about it. Because the actual story is just different names and different just different names. Like, instead of Amina Harker, instead of the Harkers, we got the what do we got? The Hutters. Instead of the Harkers, we got the Hutters. Instead of Van Helsing, we got Dr. Eberhardt. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just this tiny little changes, but it was a blatant ripoff. But getting into this Nosferatu, it is one of the best shot films I've seen it in a very long time. Even better shot than some of the stuff he has already done before. Now, one of the things that Robert Edgar excels at is there's this phrase called no wasted motion. There's no wasted space. Every frame of his film is telling the story. And in this movie, I remember I was sitting here watching it, and for like the first 30 to 40 minutes of the movie, I am sitting here like every single shot in this movie could be a still frame, dude. Every single shot in this movie could be a still shot. It could be framed on a wall somewhere. Every shot is telling it's just saying so much, from the lingering on a door, to the lingering on a face, to the shadows, to the sound design. Everything in this movie is working to tell a story. Like, it is very, and it's like, it's inspiring, honestly. Like, I'm noticing these shits. And maybe it's because I watch a lot of movies, or maybe not, but I'm just noticing this while I'm watching this movie. I'm like, every shot is deliberate, from the way that the light hits someone, from the way that something moves, from the way someone's mouth moves. Like, everything in this movie, every frame that is shot. That's why I say it's probably, and now I sort of regret doing my fucking top 5 of last year, because technically it came out last year, but I don't know, I might count this into this year because I saw it this year, so it'll be my best this year. Either way, like, he takes his time and just captures the scene. He really does. Every frame, every moment, it's one of the best shot movies. It has one of the best sound designs. It is the visuals of this film. This movie has visuals that are haunting visuals. Particularly, there's some shots, particularly the one haunting shot of Dracula's shadow hand going over, or not Dracula, my bad, Nosferatu's shadow hand going over the city. Like, there are so many shots in this movie that are just stunning. They're just stunning. Also, like I say, it's a very well-framed movie. It's a very stunning movie. But when we get to now, the main story, like I said, it's pretty much Dracula. Literally, you got Thomas and Ellen Hutter. Ellen is gifted. She is touched. You've heard the phrase before. She is a medium. You know what I mean? She's a medium. She has a connection with the other side, with otherworldly things. So, and when Ellen was younger, she was alone. She was an outcast, kind of. Because of her unique situation, she was an outcast. No one really wanted to, hang out with her. She didn't have many friends. It was just, she was a sad, lonely kid. And the older she got, the more she became a teenager and whatnot, obviously hormones are kicking in. So now you're sad, lonely, you got hormones kicking in, you got lust coming onto you, and no one really wants to be around you. So, in her desperation for just human contact, or just to make a connection, she sort of reached out into the ether. Just reached out with her powers. Now, she didn't do it on purpose. She just, she was just feeling something, and she reached out. And unfortunately, she made a connection with Nosferatu. Not only did she make a connection with him, she awakened him. And they don't say how long this psychic relationship was going on. For a short while, they basically had a psychic fling. They basically were they basically had a psychic fling of just sexual passion with and I say psychic because it's all in her head, but it was actually happening to her. But eventually, she cut him off, especially once it started to get close to her dying from making this connection, because obviously he's an undead being, so it's affecting her negatively being so connected to him. Eventually, she found her husband Thomas, and she moved on past it. But years later, maybe I think they said 3 years, maybe 4 years later, Thomas and her are happy. Everything's going well. But unfortunately, Thomas's boss sends him out to get a deed signed out in Transylvania. And wouldn't you know it, old Nosferatu is manipulating things, and everything goes down. And I don't want to get into too many more, because some of you people haven't read those books, and some people don't know the original Dracula story, so I won't spoil anything for you, but let's just say things are not going well. Now, this version of Nosferatu is a monster, but the way they depicted him is very fascinating, because they depicted him like a rotting corpse. Like a corpse that stopped rotting, that was rotting, but stopped. It's not like he's currently rotting. It's like he was rotting, but now he isn't anymore. And the way they depict him, from the way he is, his thick beard, his thick accent, He is more of a manipulator. Like, he is a monster, but there's more he's more like, so in that way they did take a lot more from Dracula, because usually Nosferatu is really just a monster, bloodthirsty monster. He is a bloodthirsty monster, but he's manipulative. I mean, you're talking about a man who could cast illusions and screw with your mind from thousands of miles away. Like, and the way they kind of describe him as almost pestilence itself. He's a sickness. He's wherever he goes, death comes. And when you hear a phrase like that, you go, oh, I get it, because he's going around killing people. But no, when he shows up in London, he has an army of infested, like, rats just coming along with him that are literally killing the city from sickness. He is literally a living infection. It's a very interesting approach they took to him. He's more articulate than you would expect. Like I said, he's not just a mindless monster. And this is what's going to probably hurt this movie and I remember when I walked out to the theater from the movie, a lot of people were conflicted about it. A lot of people were confused, because it is, one of the only problems with the movie is, it can be a bit artistic. A little like, and I don't mean to make fun of the movie for that, but sometimes it can come off a bit niche. Some of the artistic choices, there isn't any real, like, the horror aspect, everything that he's doing with purpose, but a lot of the horror is just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, there's a lot of, how am I going to describe, I can't even get into that. All I can tell you is, it is a bit artsy. If you're going into this movie thinking it's just going to be this straight up horror movie about Nosferatu, it isn't that. It is a horror movie, and it does a great job with suspense. It does a great job with those things. But at its core, it's this weird art movie about hunger, about desire, and about how that could lead you down these certain paths. And even Nosferatu prefers to himself as an appetite, an endless appetite. He's like, I'm not really even a person or a being. I'm a living embodiment of an appetite. And in fact, this entire situation happened because of somebody's desperation for contact, mostly sexual. And there's a lot of sexual undertones to this movie. There's a lot. I mean, there's the sequence near the end of the movie that's like, and like they touch upon a lot of things. That it's not too blatant, but it's to a degree that, like I say, this is not gonna be one of those movies that I think is gonna make a bunch of money, because it is very artful. Just like The Northman, where The Northman could have easily have been this awesome ass revenge story that had some deep stuff to it, but instead it had that, but it was also this very artistic, like, it's same thing here. And I enjoyed it, but I don't know how many other people are going to enjoy it. It can be very, like I said, it can be a little bit much. But I loved it. I thought Nosferatu was awesome. I had a great time with this movie. It's pretty much it's one of the best film movies I've seen this year or any other year. I give Nosferatu a 9 out of 10. Dug the hell out of it. Like I said, it can be in the niche areas. Some of the more sexual aspects of it could just kind of come out of nowhere a little bit. And they really didn't, and like I said, the movie, I got more to say about it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining the Concrete Movie Show. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.